Even as property prices fall, new figures show just how much rising interest rates are eating away at the buying power of hopeful young homeowners. For many, it's turning the great Aussie dream into little more than a pipe dream.
There's lots of challenges that women face when it comes to home ownership. In the early 2000s, it took us 3.6 years to save a 20% deposit for a medium-priced house. Now it takes us 5.7. So that's a significant increase in how long we save. So of course, when we have the gender pay gap on top of everything else that women face, that challenge can feel insurmountable. And of course, with the rising interest rates, the rising costs of living, our ability to save has been diminished. And with those rising costs, we are feeling deflated, like it's never going to happen, particularly if you're renting. And let's face it, rents are nearly as high as a mortgage repayment anyway, making it even more difficult to rent and save. There has to be a better way. So some of the women that I work with have been able to get financial freedom through home ownership because, of course, rents are draining and it's a never-ending cycle with rent. Whereas if you're paying off your home loan, yes, you're still paying the same amount, but you will have ownership of it. So I have one client and she was a single mum and was in that rent cycle and did start to wonder if she was ever going to be able to afford a home for her and her son. So we got her onto a savings plan. We readjusted her vision of where she wanted to live and just explained the benefits of getting in the door. And it may not be the forever home, but it started the home ownership cycle. So the way we did it with this lady was we worked out what she could afford on her wage without impacting on her lifestyle, of course. But then we looked at how she could get additional savings aside to work towards that goal. We got her to go through her spending and find out where she was spending her money. We got her to look at getting rid of subscription services that she didn't necessarily need. We got her to cut back on her day-to-day living costs and redirect those spendings to her savings account, which built up her deposit in a quicker time than she thought she could. So some of the most common mistakes I see with women is that they forget the power of small changes. Everybody's looking for the big changes and they're looking to put massive amounts each payday away. And of course, then you're deprived of things. And when we fall off the wagon, we end up doing a lot of shopping. So the practical approach that women can take is to create that vision board to give you that power of the positive mindset that you can do this if you know what you're working towards. So once you create the vision of what you want, you then put an action plan in place on how you're going to get there. And of course, looking at ways to find those small regular savings that you can add to your savings account will make it grow much quicker. So instead of getting your coffee on the way to work each morning and then buying coffee at lunchtime, perhaps you could put that savings away. So let's say $5 a day. May not seem much, but it all adds up over time. You can cook extra meals of a night so that you've got something to take to heat up for your lunch the next day, which stops you going to the takeaway shop. Or look at what you're spending your money on when it comes to clothes. And are you just being sold to by marketing companies that you have to have that latest dress? You shouldn't have society's expectations. And I always say to people, if you don't know where you're going to spend your life, then maybe ownership isn't for you of a home, because there is a significant cost when you first buy homes. So if you're not quite sure if that's the location that you want to live, or you might be thinking that you'll go overseas, don't let society put the pressure on you that you have to have home ownership. Financially is the big reason for doing things. And if it's going to cost you more buying and selling because you keep changing locations or cities, then it's a bad financial decision. So you need to always weigh up your pros and cons of renting versus buying. You can always educate yourself when you need to know about your financial planning or savings for a home deposit by actually following somebody who knows what it is. Stop taking advice from your family, friends, neighbours, sisters. They may not know more than you. And it's important the DIY doesn't always work. Seek out a professional, do a course, read material, but make sure that it is valid material and not a finfluencer. So if you're looking for resources on how to educate yourself, you can always go to the government site, Money Smart, and there's lots of tips and tricks there. Or of course, you can join us at Got Money Honey and do our My Money Makeover or our Female Financial Blueprint courses. Or of course, there are plenty of books that you can read. I'm Jen from Got Money Honey. If you need help getting ahead financially or saving for a deposit on a home or getting out of the debt cycle, reach out to me at jenrichardson.co.